80% of what we worry about never even ends up happening. A lot of times we get ourselves super worked up about nothing. We think it's the end of the world. We think it's going to be catastrophic. We think it's something that is going to change everything. And in 10 years from now, you might look back and not even think about it. Hi, and welcome to Girls Gone Gritty. Look at who is sitting next to me at our Bring It On studios.
Hi, ladies. I'm so happy to be back in Rumson with my girls. I really missed you this weekend at Pond Skimming, though. One of my favorite events of the year, Sugar Bush. And I needed you ladies there, but unfortunately, the weather kept you home.
We thought it was going to be a washout. We were ready, locked and loaded. And then the forecast was not in our favor.
No, but you can never tell. With Vermont, the weather comes and it goes, but there's always next year. But it's great to be back after a long winter. And I came home to tulips and daffodils, and it's sunny and beautiful.
And we've got a gator in the house over here.
Go Gators. Big, huge NCAA win. First time since 2007. So I'm very happy. I will say to anyone who's got a college student out there, when there's big fun things happening on campus of that magnitude, you're just happy when you talk to them the next day.
We got 2 national championships in the house here. We got a little OSU Buckeye football, and we got some March Madness next door.
My team, Duke. Wah, wah, wah. Shocking.
I still
Shocking.
in shock about it.
Hey, listen, that's what makes March Madness. And when you have 4 number 1 seeds that make it to the final 4, that's part of what we talked about on earlier episodes about the portal and the NILs. It's changed the landscape of things. So therefore, anybody can get toppled. Sorry, Duke.
Sorry, Jeff is sad. So, ladies, what are the top 5 prettiest headlines of the week?
So we try to inspire you out there and to get you to find some news that maybe you're missed. Number 5, for those of you planning your spring break trip, it's not going to be open yet, but you can put it in for maybe the summer. Orlando, the theme park capital of the world, expands into an even bigger, epic universe.
May 22nd, it opens, and it is basically a Disneyland for adults. So I'm excited. I think it'll be fun.
You can drink alcohol at that one, at that version.
Oh, all of the Universal are. I think the only last holdout is the Magic Kingdom that is alcohol free. I think everybody else has recognized alcohol is the way to a hefty bottom line. Number 4. Better than the great one. Oh my goodness. Our own Wayne Gretzky got toppled this past weekend. If you haven't been listening, 895 goals by Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. He's an interesting person because he's been with them his entire career, girls.
And it's Putin actually gave him a call and congratulated him. For me, Wayne Gretzky, I'm come from a giant hockey family. He's one of my favorite hockey players out there. There's so much history when you compare Wayne Gretzky to Alex. It was a totally different game, but hey, accomplishments are accomplishments, and I think it's one of the best ones out there.
All right, number 3, slow and steady wins the race, reproductively at least, for 2 Galapagos turtles that just turned 100.
I saw on News Channel 12 these giant endangered turtles, over 100, and 4 little hatchlings, and it was adorable. And they show 1932 they came to the Philadelphia Zoo, and hey, he's still got some giddy up because he had a happy smile on his face with 4 little hatchlings. So when you got it, you got it.
All right, number 2, the Polar Express space trip costs a little bit more than a Bitcoin for our first privately purchased flight.
I thought that usually could pay a very large sum to blast into space. I thought that had been done before. So this is news to me.
No, this is a new one. Think of heli skiing when it first came out. It was super expensive and almost like the elite would be able to go. And if you had a big travel budget for skiing,
price tag.
They will
not disclose it. So basically the first leg goes from Florida to the South Pole, and it takes about a half an hour.
Crazy.
And then we'll circle the globe in roughly 1.5 hours, including 46 minutes to fly from pole to pole.
It's the new frontier, obviously, for the people who are adventurous, just like the explorers back in the days when they get on a big steamship and cross the Atlantic. You have to have these people do things. So hooray for them. But Farley, to clarify your point, and for those listening out there, this is first privately. Everybody on the spaceship itself were passengers, meaning there was not an operational cause. There are people that have gotten on flights before, but they are a passenger on a flight that has a mission. To Darian's point, this Bitcoin, he's Chinese, basically was like, hey, you guys want to go on a space flight today? And took 3 of his buddies up, and that's how it went.
I would spend the money on renting an island in Tahiti and bringing all my friends for a surf trip or doing some heli skiing.
Number 1, this might blow your mind because it really did blow my mind. Sisterly love in a transplanted womb gives life for the first time in the United Kingdom.
I just got educated on what a womb is, and your womb is your uterus. So when I had a hysterectomy, I'm sad that I didn't donate my uterus to somebody that needed a womb.
Well,
it's pretty amazing.
It's interesting because the sister had her reproductive organs. So once she had the uterus, it's almost like your housing. You had your house. She could do fertility and could carry the baby as she would on her own. So it's really cute because they named the daughter Amy or Amy Isabel after the sister and one of the nurses that helped out. So medicine and technology is amazing in giving life to like your sister. It's,
that's a
Far,
it's amazing. And I'd love to hear other people's view on this is like, how much is the right amount? We're getting to a point where we can genetically engineer so many things. It's going to be an interesting road from a morality standpoint. And I'm not judging surrogacy or this situation at all, but you do see how quickly things are moving. When I told my husband about this story, he was blown away. He's like, wait a minute, they can do that? And if these are the things, again, that we know, how many things do we not know?
Well, this is the first successful one in the UK.
It's crazy. So there we go. Those are our top 5. Feel free to send in your own. Send in some suggestions for us too.
And today, our topic that we are going to tackle is how you cannot let things that are out of your control start controlling you.
Let it go.
Let it go. One of my favorite songs.
We know that the definition of anxiety truly is when you feel like you can't control something that's eating you alive. So we're hoping to shed some light on some things that you can do when you are in a place where you feel like things are spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
Take it away.
I was talking to my friend after a big weekend in pond skimming, kind of went a little too big. And you know how we talk about the pads? Well, she's like, oh my God, I have anxiety. How good is that? I'd never heard
anxiety.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh my God, the hangover that gives you anxiety. I'm like, I call it the pads, but no.
Anxiety is
a real thing. And actually, I think it's like a actual chemical reaction to your body trying to get rid of the toxins.
Yeah.
Real.
I think I have anxiety from hanging out next to my husband in a traffic jam from Penn State all the way home. And the road rage is so real. And his anxiety, we can't just spontaneously pick up and fly our way out of there.
Is it anxiety or is it just what everyone in our family has, just road rage?
It's like, I don't get that. I mean, I can sit in the car and I can listen to music and I can have a conversation with somebody that I appreciate. If I know I'm stuck in this situation, but Pat had to literally talk about every negative aspect of that the entire time that we were in this horrible traffic jam.
You said it right there. And that comes to our topic. Let it go. You can't fix it. You have to think in the present moment and try to make the best of things. You're stuck in traffic. Try to take a deep breath.
He was letting me know each minute that was added to our journey. And I was like, this is not helping you. This is making you crazier and you're making me crazy.
I think what we want to do is give everyone a little bit of insight as to why we feel this way, right? Why we all get to a place where, I can honestly say I don't suffer from road rage, but my brother-in-law does, to the point where he's literally thrown cups of coffee out the window at people because he's lost his mind. And we are worried that he's going to get himself arrested. And moreover, in this day and age, you need to be really careful who you engage with because you don't know how crazy somebody is.
A Glock.
You don't know. So we want to definitely give you some tools as to how to mitigate some of that stress if you're in the car with somebody who has road rage, Farley, and give us some tips and tools as to how you try and de-escalate the situation. And then, how you can try and teach your children to not take on some of the habits that we parents offer.
You can't focus on what you can't control. And that's what we're trying to say.
Can't control.
And you can't control the past.
Health is one. And then the past is an obvious second. What happened yesterday is unchangeable. You can't change yesterday. So try and take what you've been given today. And if it's a bad health diagnosis, try and figure out a way to get more information and find some strategies to move forward.
Like when the rug gets pulled out from underneath you and you are told that you suddenly have cancer, that promotes insane anxiety immediately. You just have to get educated and you have to figure out what you can do to improve the situation. I'm going to give you guys some examples of things that are out of your control, and then we can give you some tips on how to handle it. Okay, I'm reading the examples, and then we're going to go back and tackle them. Election results, relationship problems, addiction issues, global, national, and seasonal issues, family issues, aging, weather, war, religion, death, and traffic road rage, which we already tackled. But these are some real issues that can cause stifling dread or anxiety, but we're not in control of these things. And unfortunately, some of the biggest problems are when you feel like you can't fix them. So that's what we're trying to really tackle. You can't fix every problem, but you can learn how to live with the cards that you've been dealt and try to figure out how you're going to move forward.
I think the challenge for all of us is that sometimes the news you're given on any one of those situations, it can feel paralyzing when you have a health issue or a family member or a mental health issue, when there's stressful things that are outside of your control, where there isn't more of a clear path of what you should be doing to prepare yourself. I think that the paralyzation that people can have is really daunting. And that's part of what we want to educate and help people identify today, is that they're letting go doesn't mean you're not acknowledging what you're dealing with. Letting go is saying, okay, a storm is coming, whether it's a metaphorical storm or a real storm. What do I need to do? What is in my power and what is in my control that I can do to mitigate my risk, my damage, my mental status, all of those things that happen, right?
Right. It's not a new philosophy. There's dozens of books out there that have the title, Let It Go. Let it go. So it's been around forever, and it's all about the power of now, thinking in the moment. It's when you relive the past and you're thinking of the future and getting so stressed out, like, what's happening to me? What's going on? Am I going to get better? And it's that almost the power of positive thinking, like Norman Vincent Peale. It's a great book. Yep.
Everybody says as soon as you get a diagnosis or you get something that you actually are not in control of, stop Googling WebMD.
Sure.
Shut out the noise. Mm-hmm. Don't talk to a million people that are going to give you their version of how it went down in their lives, or this is what happened to me, or this is what happened to my brother-in-law. Try to have clarity about how it's going to affect your life or your loved one or the moment, and figure out a plan that is about your exact situation. And the noise can be really deafening.
You have to trust the universe. Things happen for a reason. There's another being out there that's kind of railroading you in a direction, and you have to trust the process. As hard as it is, you have to just go with it because you can't fight it.
I agree with you completely. After you shut out the noise, the first most important thing that you need to do is just pause and breathe, right? And that gives you an opportunity to just give yourself a moment to compose your thoughts. And even if you don't use any methodologies for breathing itself, just the thought process of just hang on. Don't hold my breath on the situation. I need to move through it. I need to understand one breath at a time, one step at a time, one situation at a time, and compartmentalize it in a box breath ideology, or a box breath fundamentally is like the best way to make sure you're okay, even if it's your diagnosis.
Find peace in the moment, whatever that moment is.
I'm a reactionary person. I just can't help it. If I hear something immediately, I digest it quickly, and I want to learn more about whatever it is. So I do go to Google, but I don't take every single thing in Google like as finite. I try to get educated quickly, and then I really try to become proactive in whatever direction I'm needed. So I think the reactionary part that is negative is to spiral out of control and think that it's doom and gloom. Don't get negative immediately and don't go down the rabbit hole. Like, be reactionary in a positive way where, okay, you know what? I can take this on. I can handle this, and I'm going to really, tackle this to the best of my ability in whatever direction it is.
I look at it like there's two sides of a coin to most things. There's worry, which is one side. We are all very good at the worry piece, putting that negative energy into something that you cannot change. And flip side, and I say this to my family and my friends, the people I love, if you flip the coin on worry, that to me is prayer. Like, that is putting good intentions to, whatever it is you believe in. And worry is just a mindlessness of remunerating on something that you can't change. Well, prayer is remunerating on something that you believe, if you put your positive intentions, will change. So I would say I'm worrying about something. I'm like, okay, wait, let me not worry about it. What can I do about it to fix it? If I can't do anything, if it's out of my control, if I have to let it go and let it, Darian said, go to the universe, then I give it good intention and I give it good energy in prayer. And I think that can help the road rage. You have this time in the car, and every minute that you're fixated on the problem, you're losing a minute. Well, you lost a minute to have meaningful conversation with me or listen to your favorite song. We can't do anything about the traffic. So what can we do in that time frame that's going to be a positive?
You practice acceptance. Here I am. This is what it is. How can I make it better? And just try to look to the light. I've got to try to figure out why and accept it. And sometimes it's hard.
Your thoughts become your behavior. And that's the hard part, is being able to show some self-control and taking the extra time to breathe and kind of formulate a plan. Because if it's not something that's directly affecting you, now let's say that the news that you got or whatever it is that's out of your control is affecting somebody that you love or care for that's around you, your energy tips over to them. So the last thing that you want to do is cause more stress to somebody in a situation that's out of their control by bringing your own baggage to the table. So don't let your thoughts become your behavior. You have to really learn how to mask that and be the strong person in the equation, not only for yourself,
right,
for everybody around you.
Yeah. Well, you engage in self-care is what it is. You try to take care of yourself and try not to push that on other people if you do have major problems, if you can. And I look at it like, you accept it, you find out what it is, you accept it, you get bummed, but then you just have to move on, whatever it is. There's so many things that you have to let go. You have to put that immediately behind you so you can't get stuck in the what if. It's the power of now.
You also don't want to manifest something by thinking about it if it's negative. I'm all about manifesting positivity and things that I want to happen. But if you put too much energy in something that's toxic or negative or out of your control, you are feeding it. And the last thing that you want to do is feed something that is out of your control that's causing you stress, because it's just going to tip from there and it's going to become a big, ugly snowball.
Well, negativity breeds negativity. The sadder you are, it's almost like it feeds itself and it wants you to get more sad.
Worrying does not fix problems.
No.
It's not a problem solver. It's actually a problem creator. And when let's just say you got a terrible diagnosis. If you start stressing about that diagnosis, that can actually cause you to become even sicker.
Well, stress is
right. But I also think
catalyst.
But I think it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I got cancer, this major thing. It could be, I blew my ACL and my summer's ruined and their whole world is upside down. It's so many things in life. You have to just try to let it go and move on, because it overtakes you. Yeah, I think I like positive.
80% of what we worry about never even ends up happening. A lot of times we get ourselves super worked up about nothing. We think it's the end of the world. We think it's going to be catastrophic. We think it's something that is going to change everything. And in 10 years from now, you might look back and not even think about it.
Well, it's that manifesting. I ran into a friend of mine in Vermont, and she's an artist, and she has this beautiful studio. She's just a rock star. And I saw her, and she's always smiling. And I'm like, how you doing? She's like, there was a flood, and it ruined my entire studio and all of my paintings and my work and like her life. She's been a photographer forever. And I said, but you know what? It worked. I manifested that I need a change in my life. So it was a really hard time. And she goes, I'm going to go travel and I'm going to do this. And I got insurance money, and it's given me kind of a break in my reality. And she said, I manifested it. She said, I was so dark, but I had to live in the moment.
It's like, be careful what you wish for, but it actually,
yes,
it ended up being a positive.
But that's the thing. Sometimes you don't know what's behind that door, that you're like, okay, where is this going to take me? Maybe you blow out your knee and you meet your love of your life in the doctor's office. You know what I mean? You never know.
The other positive that I read is that from each experience, you learn something valuable. I didn't ever want to become a multiple myeloma expert, but I did realize that I could streamline my mother's care, and the power of the mind is pretty crazy, because I thought I was in this menopause glitch where I couldn't remember, today from yesterday. But in that moment, I became a doctor, and I could remember everything and execute anything that was needed on behalf of my mom. So valuable lessons come out of stress. They come out of things that we can't fix because we're looking for solutions, and it inspires us to become great thinkers and to be proactive. So if you step back from things that you feel like you can't control, look at the effort that you've put into trying to solve something and recognize that it's character building. So that's a positive takeaway from some of the stresses that we've all unfortunately had to.
And to your point, some of the things that you would like to let go, you can't. Like, I think that, for those of us that are dealing with things, and we're all dealing with things, like we don't share every single thing, in our daily lives to every single person we come into contact with. But when you understand what your value system is, and that you keep some of these things that you would love to let go because you want to be there for a friend who's going through a really difficult time. You want to be there for a parent who's dealing with an illness. It would be very nice to let some of those things go, but your value system kicks in, and you recognize that the energy in which you put into things, and I'm all about energy for those of you that know me on a personal basis, and you're getting to know me on the show, is that, the energy that you give, I believe you receive, and the good relationships that continue, and the good situations that you manifest come out of that hard work and that dedication to something and receiving what you've put out there. So, I'm not saying to like let things go like willy-nilly. Like, what we're saying is that acknowledge the difficulties that you have, accept them for what they are. And then human beings are really good at solving problems. And that's what happens when you acknowledge what you're going through, you accept what you're going through, and then you can formulate how you want to get through it. Because we also know that's the only way. The only way is a lot of time is to go through it.
And don't hold it in. Talk about it with people. One of the best things that you can do, noise, we don't need noise. We don't need everybody to become an expert around us when we're going through something, unless you truly are an expert and you have a solution to a problem. But most of the time you don't. But don't also allow it to become stifling and internalize it so that you become crippled. It is very good when you're in a situation that is anxiety filled, not to rely on your Xanax, even though my mother became she could time when her Xanax was running out because the crippling feeling of anxiety was overtaking her. Anxiety is a disease, and it's real. And I did some research when I was trying to help my mom and recognized that ADHD and ADD, if it goes undetected or undiagnosed in your younger ages, it manifests as anxiety as an adult. So I would recommend anybody that feels like they have crippling anxiety over nothing. My mom could get worked up over absolutely nothing. We're not talking about problems that aren't solvable. It would just be the fact that my mom had a doctor's appointment coming up. Whatever it is, make sure that you do a little due diligence into what anxiety really is, because there are some culprits that contribute to the cause, and that can be fixed
with medicine,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm not talking Xanax.
No.
I'm talking
Yeah.
ways of like getting somebody to go outside and getting them to refocus their energy when they're going through crippling anxiety, and breathing is a real thing. We used to have my mother count to 4 and do box breathing. And then we would change her from one room that was causing the anxiety to a different situation. And it just becomes a situational shift of energy.
Yeah.
So there are tactics. There are a lot of different ways that you can try to remove the anxiety that comes on out of nowhere just by shifting energy, changing locations, putting a television show on, putting music on, going outside, breathing air, feeling sunshine. Those are very proactive without meds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Proactive solutions.
Those are great. And also, I think the clarity of giving people space to create something new. I think about like letting things go, and it's like when you pack for a journey and you're on a long road, you only take what you need. Well, a lot of times through life, we've picked up baggage on that trip that no longer serves us, and letting like some of that stuff go isn't easy because it's part of my identity. It's part of who I am, and obviously talking metaphorically, but if you have those opportunities to listen to somebody, when people are going through challenges, I know when I'm going through challenges, sometimes I know I have the solution. I just can't see it. And what we need as human beings, I think, is for somebody not to tell me what to do. Right. And it's not because they're not trying to be helpful, but sometimes people just need a little space. Like they need a clearing in the path that they can sit back, look at the sky, again, metaphorically, and just have somebody listen to them scream or shout or rant about whatever the situation is. Like,
or unpack and take your luggage and put it in the closet.
I pack heavy bags. One thing, when I would get upset or anything, I would write in a journal, and I'd just write it all out, and I'd kind of just get it off my chest, get it on paper, and then I put it away. And that's the great way to unpack, is you even keep a journal. If you can't go to sleep and you're just so stressed and your mind's racing, how do I go to sleep? Just write out like what's in your mind. How is it affecting me? Like, how can I make it better? And then close it up, and you'll be good. When I lived in LA, and oh my God, I'm like so homesick. I need to get home. And how do I get that? And I would literally open my sunroof. I'd crank Bruce Springsteen, and I'd drive as fast as I could and just clear my head and try to think about absolutely nothing. And that works sometimes. So you kind of find your way to get over different situations. Go surf, go ride a bike, go get some air, go walk the boardwalk if you're near a beach. And sometimes that breathing and just be present in that moment and look to the light and look to the ocean and look to the sky and just try to clear your head. And that grounds me. I don't know, maybe that'll help ground you.
Well, hopefully we've inspired all of you today to unpack a little bit, put some luggage away, reach out to people that bring you happiness and just different ways of dealing with things that are out of your control. But the end lesson here is, do not let things that are out of your control you. Easier said than done, but we're hoping that we shared some ways that you could potentially try to go in that direction. And I wish that everybody has an anxiety-free rest of their day.
Yeah. And when you need a little tool, go back and think about being a positive battery, where you're going to acknowledge and accept what you've been given. And you're going to take that positivity and you're going to share that energy out, because it's going to come back to you.
And recharge your battery over and over and over.
And on that note, who's our Got Grit winner of the week?
So our Got Grit winner of the week this week is an interesting group of Canadian scientists who, we've talked about in previous episodes, some of the challenges in raising kids and the bar scenes and just the way that things have changed from not being connected in a society where you know everyone. And these groups of scientists from Canada, the Foster brothers, they came up with the spikeless. It's a stir stick that they're chemists that detect GHB and ketamine, any other non-detectable,
Date rape
untraceable drugs in your drink. And they are trying to help mitigate that risk along with another company, which is called Nightcap. And that these guys put a cap over. It's like a little scrunchie you wear on your wrist. And then when you have your drink at the bar, you can put this little nightcap over your drink to protect it. So 2 tools, if you have kids that are in that area of life and they're out and about, and even if you don't think they are, just make sure they know that there's some tools that are being developed to keep us safe. Not only our kids, but the 3 Gs as well, because we like to go out and have our cocktails. And
listen, I've been roofied. It's fun.
I was there. I got
We actually, unfortunately, have both been roofied, and it was.
But we had each other's backs. That's the key. You have to have each other's backs.
Wow.
And
wow.
It's not a female situation alone.
No.
My son was roofied, and it was for a financial roofie. So it happens across the board. Don't think because you're a female or a male on many of these topics we talk about that you're insulated. Sadly, predators are smarter than the predator.
We saved each other.
And keep yourself safe and those you love. That's our Got Grit winner of the week.
I think right now I need like a very inspirational lyric or something that's going to take away a little bit of this anxiety, since we just talked about how music can really kind of help alleviate,
soothe the soul.
So Jen, she is bringing us our song of the week.
High time we made a stand and shook up the views of the common man, and the love train rides from coast to coast. DJ is the man we love the most. Could you be squeaky clean and smash any hope of democracy? As the headline says, you're free to choose. There's egg on your face and mud on your shoes. One of those days, they'll call it the blues.
I'm listening to every word, and I'm not putting a song or any type of music to it in my head. I don't know.
Sowing the seeds of love. Anything is possible. Seeds of love. Sowing the seeds. Tears for fears.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. Going back. Nice.
My high school.
I never get these. If I hear it in a second, if I hear lyrics,
same.
It's a really fun.
I haven't heard that song in a really long time.
I love Tears for Fears.
Shout, let it all out.
So check them out. They go pretty deep and get you to think about things, which is what we're trying to do here on our show.
I have I have some new swag, by the way. Is it this arm?
It looks really good, Far.
Is it
right here?
Okay. So we have a Got Grit t-shirt that is available with a nice detail, which is like the band's checkerboard arm. And I'm rocking it today because I'm feeling gritty. And you know what? We are looking for anybody that can put the it in grit. So please share content ideas, stories with us. Anything that you want to hear us talk about. We're just genuinely trying to evoke conversations that sometimes are too hard to have. And that's what we're doing, talking about it all.
Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty. Hopefully you got something out of this episode of Let It Go. And next week, please tune in because we're going to flip it up and give you some tips on what to add to your smoothies, to your shakes, some supplement ideas, and who else knows, because it's spring and you want to get skinny and healthy.
I'm in.
Me too.
I'm in. Healthy, skinny. Doesn't matter if you're skinny, just healthy.
Thanks so much. Keep